Welcome back to Launch Speed. I'm your host, Bubba, aka Brendan, joined by my co-host, Forrest, aka Zach, on this epic journey to feed you information as though it were ice cream, Lieutenant Dan.
That's freaking brilliant. All right, roll the tape to us sitting down.
There's multiple shapes and sizes. Just decide that a real fat guy is just a bear and it's hitting an animal.
Well, it's not gonna hit a bear.
Well, yeah, I know that. It will determine the
Launch speed?
Launch speed.
Stop! I'm trying to think. I'm trying to put my words together. You're rushing me.
Am I helping?
No, not at all. No one else can see my hands.
Welcome to Launch Speed.
Welcome back to my podcast, Brendan.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks for having me on today.
I allowed you to come into my house, so I figured I'd let you on the podcast.
I appreciate that. How come we didn't do this yesterday?
Apparently, I was too drunk.
I think it's because we went fishing.
Oh.
We went fishing and did some other stuff that required some time.
So, do you have anything exciting this week that happened?
Fishing was exciting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. For like the first time this year, we actually caught some fish.
Yeah.
It was a nice change.
Did you actually catch one?
I did. I caught one.
You caught a perch, right?
I caught a perch.
I think I caught one fish as well.
Yeah.
Also a tiny perch.
Mm-hmm.
But Marky, my man, brought in a big old catfish and two perch in the same cast.
Yep. Never going to get that lucky.
No.
That's okay.
And our master fisherman we brought along, Jay,
Got zero fish.
he let us down so
Let
hard,
us
man.
down.
He's like, oh yeah, there's definitely fish over here. Never caught one. Tell you what though, his cast is insane. Have you seen how accurate that sucker is?
Yeah, well, he also has a better pole for casting. We have drop fishing rods, and we cast with those a little bit. We have the wrong kind of fishing rods.
The man throws that thing like a whip out there.
Yeah. I think we need new ones.
I don't think I can afford any more purchases.
I was
recently.
looking at them today while we were at Dick's, and they were just awfully expensive. That's not a place I would buy one, but they were pretty expensive.
So I think the poles are on the cheap side for fishing reasons.
Those ones weren't, but yeah.
like it's the reel that gets you.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like $200 for a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just spent a bunch of dollars on my windshield.
That's right, you did.
But I am excited about that because I didn't realize just how bad it was until I had a brand new one on the car.
Because you had a crack running all the way from bottom left to top right.
I had it running. It ran from bottom left up through the middle and then back down to the bottom right.
Nice upside down smiley face.
Yep. Throw a frowny face, most people call those.
Sure.
And I also had like a bullet hole at where my eyesight is on the windshield.
Yep.
I don't know who did it. It wasn't me. It was on the car before I got it. I'm going to blame somebody.
Sure. Also, it was probably not a bullet, but a rock.
I mean, the hole was pretty big.
Okay.
I'm going to go with bullet. I'm going
Sure.
to say someone was in a drive-by and they like used the car to escape.
I saw a picture this week of someone who took their tailgate of their truck off and used it for target practice, so they appeared like a badass. Because there was a bunch of bullet holes in it.
Would you do that with your truck?
Fuck no.
No?
No.
Why not? It would
Maybe in 35 years.
You know how cool it would be to have actual bullet holes in your vehicle? I don't know why Alexa over here is shaking her head like that's a bad sign. Like, you have a truck. You're supposed to do things like that.
If I bought a beater, sure. If I had bought like a 20-year-old truck already.
Also, the video we did last week.
That was a lot of fun.
It was. I was slightly disappointed with the quality, and you are as well, so we're going to can it.
There was also some other technical issues with the video. For some reason, it was stuttering when I imported it into the video editor, and there's no way to fix it. It played fine when I was playing it through the media player, but when I imported it into the video, it stuttered, and the audio was out of sync with the video, which was crazy and very annoying, and hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, so we're going to do another video, different topic, different thing. It's going to be a blast.
Yes, it should be painful and fun.
Yeah. It's going to be whoever goes first, I think is in the best situation.
You think?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you just get it out of the way. You don't sit there thinking like, man, I'm doing this to him, he's about to do this to me, and it's going to be so much worse.
Yeah, but then when you're second, you can gauge what you need to do. You can accurately, come up with a strategy and a plan.
That's true.
And figure out exactly what you need to do to win. Just like college, where you're calculating the percentages you needed to pass, you can do that with this. But enough about that. Well, that's for future views.
Yes. Any dislikes?
Yeah. So, well, why don't you go first?
I go first. All right. So you know how we're trying to prep for this video we're gonna film coming up, right?
Yes.
And we decide we need to go out and get things done.
Yep.
Guess how much we got done today?
Honestly, 90%. Just the 10% that's remaining is the key to the rest of
It's
it.
absolutely critical that we needed that last 10%, and the Jeep broke down on us.
Yeah. The brakes locked up, as far as
Smoking.
we can tell.
Well, they were smoking at the end.
They were smoking. They were very hot. It was weird. Two of the brakes, not the front and not the back. It was the front right and the back left.
Yep.
And they were extremely hot, making a lot of uncomfortable noises
And a terrible smell.
and a terrible smell.
So that really sucked for my day today.
Thank you to Casey for picking us up in a
Yes.
time of need.
And bringing my windows for the Jeep, because that would have sucked if it had rained.
Yes, it would have. Learned your lesson, though. Never travel without the windows.
I'm always going to have the windows in the car with me now.
Absolutely.
Only a Jeep would have that problem.
But on our way back from that, when Casey picked us up, I got cut off again in the exact same situation that I complained about a couple weeks ago, where
You had the same reaction.
I did. I was in front of the guy, and then he closed the gap between the car in front of him, even though there was nobody behind him, and refused to let me get in. So, same reaction, and fuck that guy.
Yeah,
And
no.
fuck anyone who drives a Chevy.
I also had a pretty tough and very, very stressful week.
Yeah.
We had some things going on in our family right now that has weighed down a lot on us. More to come in the later episodes about that. We're not quite ready to share.
But it's not all bad.
It's not all bad. It's not all bad. But it was. There was a lot of relief later in this week, but in the beginning it was tough, and I took work off for it because I just couldn't take it.
And no matter what, it's taxing. So
Yeah. So that was a huge dislike of my week, and not even an angry dislike, just like that sucked. That
Yeah.
really, really sucked.
and that is the reason that you've put almost no effort into this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize to everyone if Brendan says some kind of detail and I'm just like, oh yeah, that sounds great. It's because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anything we're looking ahead to?
I'm excited this is a 3-day weekend.
Oh yeah,
And
we said tomorrow off.
Like, I have every other weekend for me is a 3-day weekend, but Fridays when I'm home alone and Casey's not at home, they just kind of suck. It's like, yeah, I can get some stuff done, but it's not as much fun. When the thing about holidays is that my entire family, well, okay, both my parents are pretty much retired at this point, but my entire family has off, so like we can go do family stuff. You know, there's not that shitty feeling on Sunday afternoons, and you know, we can have a good time. And that was what sucked about my summer job in college, is that I would always work weekends and especially holidays.
Yeah,
And so it's like I would miss all that stuff. So now I'm like making up for it now.
that was my old job.
extra enjoying.
They're
it.
like,
Yeah.
oh, holidays coming up, you're for sure working it.
Right, yeah.
'Cause
It sucks. It's the worst.
You're the low man on the totem pole, therefore you get to deal with all the problems.
And now I'm your regular working man, Monday through Friday, with federal holidays off.
Same. I didn't have to take off this Monday if I didn't want to.
Oh, cool.
They would have let me worked, and it wouldn't have been overtime. Like, it wouldn't have been time and a half holiday pay. It just sucked.
If you had nothing to do, then it would have been better. But
Yeah, I got things to deal with right now.
yeah. Yep. Podcast news. Permanent discount on t-shirts for our patrons. Don't forget, buy some merch. It's awesome. We're going to come out with something new in the next couple of weeks here, and it's going to be awesome. Thanks again to our patrons, Rob, Brian, Casey, and Doug. You guys are the best. Also, shout out to Jerry. We didn't actually have a headliner for last week, which is why you guys didn't see it or share it. But Jerry shared it.
Yeah,
we
Jerry
appreciate
shared
that.
our old video.
He shared our old one, but I guess it counts.
Yeah,
I guess it counts.
I didn't know they had internet in prison. I'm honestly surprised he's allowed to do that still.
Are you thinking about Jared from Subway?
Oh, Jared.
Oh, with the big pants. Jared
Yeah.
with the big pants.
Yeah, and other problems.
Regardless, again this week, if Zach does a headliner, which is kind of up in the air because he kind of has not been enjoying it, if you share it,
There will be a headliner this week.
if you share it, you'll get a shout out on the podcast. And that's super easy. You don't even have to send us an email. You just got to press share. Thanks to Jay for sending us some articles that I hadn't actually seen that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So that is awesome.
Are you ready to see my bare bits all over
Please.
again?
Expose them.
Expose them?
Expose them.
Expose them. So, do you know what a red panda is?
Isn't it like a raccoon?
Well, yeah, but no one actually knows, or for a while, no one knew exactly what a red panda was. But here at Launch Speed, we have the definitive answer.
We did the research.
We did the research. We went in deep. We wanted to make sure we weren't criticized for having no research. Guess how much I did? Guess how many articles I looked at to find this fact?
I'm gonna guess 0. You just looked at headlines.
I just looked at headlines. So they were originally classified closer to the raccoons because of their tail and jaw. However, after further studies, they're like, you know what? It's a bear. So it went in the Ursidae. I don't know how to say it. I don't care.
Ursidae, I think that's right.
All right, definitely. Making them a bear. However, in classic fashion of this podcast, we are disappointed to find out that they have been given their own family, another unpronounceable word. Here, let me butcher it real quick. The Aeliuridae family. So now they have no living relatives, and they're a misnomer, basically, because they aren't related to the panda. But I make the motion, since this red panda was the original panda. The giant panda was named after it.
Really?
That I make a motion that we rename the giant panda to something like Giant Black and Fluffy Ball. Like, I think that'd be a great name for it.
Giant Bamboo Eater Lazy.
But if you don't know what a red panda is, I suggest you go look them up, because they have to be the cutest little trash can varmints I've ever seen in my life.
Do they have similar tendencies to... Oh, it's got its tongue out. Does it have similar tendencies to raccoons?
No, I think they're mostly bamboo eaters.
Man, they look kind of big.
They're not.
Really?
I'd give you the stats, but I don't feel like going that far into it.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, yeah, they're pretty adorable. It's also brown. Their face does look kind of bearish. That's kind of cool.
They got like the little bear nose.
They're like honorary bears. They didn't quite make it in, but honorable mention.
Definitely. Then they got put in their own family, and they're like, the rest of your family, like relatives, are dead. You're on your own.
That's cool. I wonder how that worked from an evolutionary standpoint.
They're also on the endangered list.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either.
I wonder if they're as lazy as panda bears. There's no way.
They're too small, I think. I don't think you can be that small of an animal and be that. I take that back. A sloth is a pretty small animal, and it's super lazy.
Well, they're not that small.
Yeah.
They're a little bigger than that. They're like dogs. Dogs are pretty lazy. Well, when they want to be. That was a good bear bits. I like that.
You enjoyed them?
I liked your bear bits this week.
Did they caress your mind?
I liked your bear bits this week.
Come on. Give me that one, asshole. All right, let's go. Let's keep going.
So, in the past couple of weeks, I don't remember what it was, but we talked about SpaceX and how they're going to do satellite internet for everybody that's supposed to be low latency and readily available in rural areas, and they're launching several thousand satellites. They launched their first 60 satellites this week.
Oh, good. Will they be in service?
So I don't think they're providing internet yet, but they're online. They're up there. They're hovering above the Earth. Well, not hovering, but orbiting the Earth.
Yeah. Now they're just hovering.
They're lower than other satellites, which is their advantage. But I thought that was cool. That's a first step towards getting away from Comcast.
Yeah.
Also, we talked, I think it was last week, about Sonic the Hedgehog and the movie that he's going to be in as a CGI character. They delayed the movie 3 to 4 months from November of this year to February of next year to fix Sonic.
I was told that February is the month that you just release all the shitty movies.
Really?
Yes, that's the dumping ground of movies.
Everyone's too busy to see it, and they don't care. When you think
it's gonna suck, you put it out in February.
I've never heard that.
I was told that by a very, very reliable source.
Okay, that's fair. Well, we'll see. I don't have high hopes for it. I'm probably not even going to see it.
I probably won't see it either.
But I do appreciate the developers going through and changing it, and also probably not killing the people working on it. I did read, though, from a graphic designer or someone who works on CGI that chances are the only thing that had actually been CGI'd into the movie, like inserted into the movie, was what we saw in the trailer. So while they still have to redo the entire model, which is several months of work that they kind of have to throw away, it's not like they did the entire movie. So it's not as much work as people were thinking, because the movie's definitely not done yet. So that's good, and it makes sense why they did it. If they had filmed and CGI'd the entire movie, and then due to negative reactions were like, hey, yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and redo this, then that would be very expensive.
Yeah, I'm down for them delaying it, mostly because it's more months I can put it off to not watch it ever again either.
Exactly. But that'll be good. In TV news,
And things that should have been delayed even longer, apparently.
Game of Thrones, which had a year and a half delay between its 7th season and its 8th and final season.
To ensure that it was high quality.
Super high quality cinematography, not plot.
Yeah, the writers are like, we're done writing. You kind of take it as you go.
Some people are unhappy with it, but
I would say the majority of the show.
I'd say a lot of people, but no matter how it ended, a lot of people were going to be unhappy.
Oh, yeah.
But without any spoilers, it's over. I enjoyed it. I was there. I was entertained, and I watched it the entire way through. From season 2 onwards, I watched it as it came out, and it was it's been a long journey, and I'm okay that it's over.
Yeah, same. I also started watching from about season 2 and watching it live.
And it's exciting that they're doing. I'm glad that they ended it and didn't just continue it forever, because it would have just gone downhill. They would have jumped the metaphorical shark. But they're doing spin-offs, and on that note, they're starting to film the first spin-off, at least the pilot, in June.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
And I think because there's so much you can do in that universe, and I'm just really excited for it. And you can't deny really that they did a very, very good job with the first 7 seasons of the show.
Yeah.
Or at least the first 6 seasons of the show. So the potential for a spin-off to be really, really good is there. It's definitely there.
Yeah, and hopefully since they're doing their own spin-off, they can write their own story, and it should all make sense at the end. Which is what the huge complaint of season 8 was a lot of things ended with nonsensicalness.
Well, and because they started with the first 6 seasons were somebody else's thoughts, somebody else's ideas, with a little bit of their own interplayed in there. And then 7 and 8, they more or less, the first 5 seasons were somebody else's thoughts. Seasons 7 and 8, they more or less made up with with some direction by the author, but they kind of just did it themselves. So that being said, writing the story from start to finish yourself, I think has potential to be really good. I'm excited about it. I hope HBO does it justice.
I bet they're going to do it like, we're going to start shooting in June. We're not going to release it till 2034.
I'm going to guess that if they're starting shooting in June, then the pilot will be approved in a month. And so they'll start actually filming in about September, and it'll be close to a year before it actually comes out. So I'm thinking somewhere in the fall of
next year,
fall or winter of 2020, they're gonna actually start releasing that. I could be a little off, but that's my guess.
Is it gonna be written by the same 2 writers?
It's not. They're not working on it.
Ooh.
Because they're working on Star Wars and a couple other things. But it's so they were writers and directors. There were other writers. There were other writers who did specific episodes and stuff like that. So it's going to be they're taking part in it. The minor writers, not the 2 bigwigs at the top that people like to blame for everything. But there's some Game of Thrones people carrying over. Not any of the characters, mind you, but the production staff.
All right. So why do we bring up Game of Thrones?
Because I found it interesting that the last episode was not streamed in China. I think that most of the rest of them were, but the very last one wasn't. Apparently it's due to some trade war issues, but that would be so obnoxious to watch 70 episodes and not get to see number 71.
They also have to wait another year and a half for the last episode.
I mean, I'm sure they VPN'd it. But even with that, this final episode was the most watched of any HBO show ever. 19.3 million viewers for the initial couple days, which was the highest. And
Good God.
This season was averaging about 44 million views per episode. So based on when I read this, the episode 70 was number 1. Episode 71 was number 1. Episode 70 was number 2. And then the final episode of season 7 came in at 3rd.
I wonder if the last one is the most watched because everyone's like, shit, I have not kept up. I'll just watch the end so I can, talk about it. Talk about it at work.
I wonder, like, who watches the end of season 7 and then doesn't watch anything in the beginning of season 8 and then just skips to the end. Like, who would do that?
A savage.
Yeah.
So, some third world country.
I know of people who they pick up a book and they read the first page and they read the last page. And then they decide if they want to read the whole book. And I'm like, that's stupid.
Who does that? Is it her?
No.
Oh, whew. I'm about to be real upset.
Hard cut. We're now standing.
We had to.
It's not going to hurt with the energy.
No.
Yeah. It's like in class when the teacher was like, hey, can you stop falling asleep? And eventually they're like, all right, stand up.
I wish my teachers would let you just like if you're gonna fall asleep, stand up and walk to the back of the class and just stand there until you feel more awake.
They wouldn't?
No. In high school it never happened. In college I had one professor that let me, and then when I got into the workforce and we had to do like long, boring ass talks, they're like, if you're gonna fall asleep, stand up, and as soon as they say that, I stand up and walk to the back. Like I'm gonna fall asleep.
I was in something the other day. It was a meeting of sorts that I wasn't particularly interested in at work, and I realized that ever since I got out of high school, and maybe even in high school, but I noticed it more in college. Like when I'm sitting listening to a lecture, I just fall asleep like right away.
Yeah, I immediately don't care.
It's not good. I just get really drowsy. I get out of the room and I'm like,
I feel
fine
fine now.
Yeah. So.
Exciting news though. Did you know that they're changing the official weight of a kilogram?
Of course I know. I wrote it down.
Oh, right. Okay.
So right now, it's based off of a hunk of metal that's in France. What they're changing it to is a definition based on the number of atoms. If we could pull that up, I could give you the exact details. But it's going to go from weighing just under a kilogram to weighing a kilogram.
And that's because the hunk of metal has been slowly losing weight as time goes on.
An estimated 50 micrograms over its lifetime.
Yeah.
So right now, it's a cylinder of platinum iridium alloy known as Le Grand K. It's stored in a vault outside of Paris.
The Grand K.
Yeah. What it's going to be is measured by the Planck constant, and it's going to correspond to the mass of an exact number of photons. So.
Photons. We're getting more critical here.
That's what it says.
Nice.
So it's going to be more exact. It is going to affect absolutely nobody's life except for scientists.
They say it would help them be more accurate on their calculations of the laws of physics. I'm not sure why, because a kilogram in their calculation shouldn't have changed weight.
I mean, that's true.
I don't think it mattered.
That's true. But that doesn't make any sense. If everything's based off a kilogram.
It's not like they're going back in and weighing it again.
Right.
They're just like, yeah, it's a kilogram. Whatever its original weight was. Cool.
That's interesting. Not that exciting. But what is exciting, you love cable companies, right?
Everyone does. They just make your life so pleasant.
Comcast, they're not exactly getting in on the smart speaker game, but they're moving that direction. They're doing a device that's going to monitor you based on sound and motion. And it's for, quote, health purposes. What it is supposed to do is track when you go to the bathroom, how long you sleep, if you fall, and it might be able to call 911, for instance. But what it's actually going to do...
You drop anything in your house, 911 shows up.
I'm hoping not. What it's actually going to do is monitor you, listen to you, sell your data, charge you miscellaneous fees.
Oh, yeah.
All in the name of monitoring your health. Because it's Comcast.
I wonder if it's like, so you've used the bathroom 7 times today, and that's unnatural, and then they just send you, bladder control help, or prostate health.
That's going to do wonders for everybody's ads.
Oh, yeah. They'll be so finessed. They'll be so accurate now.
And, I mean, there's a lot more regulations with health information. So I feel like Comcast is going to get in so much trouble in the coming years because everything's mandated or controlled by HIPAA.
Right, but this stuff won't fall under HIPAA.
It won't?
No. HIPAA is medical professionals only. That is like collecting data. You can't give it to insurance companies for insurance purposes.
Okay, it won't fall under HIPAA then.
It will not.
Gotcha.
Unless Comcast is like, you can use our device for insurance purposes, then it'll fall under HIPAA.
This is just a realm that most people don't want.
No.
A cable company of all people to meddle in.
Especially not Comcast.
Especially not Comcast.
If it was Verizon, I'd be even worse about it. Because they'd be like, it's 3 cents every time you pee.
Oh.
for using our microphone.
Oh my god.
I wonder if you have to put it in multiple places in the house.
You must.
So you got to put it in the bathroom. Does it harass you if you've been sitting there for too long? You're going to get hemorrhoids doing that.
Are your legs asleep? You should probably get up now. So it doesn't speak and it doesn't do anything that a good smart speaker does. It doesn't control anything in your house. So it seems to me to be almost completely useless.
And just spy on you.
Just spy on you, pretty much. Just collect data.
I'm not for it.
I'm absolutely not for it.
This is one of the things where I'll let someone test it first. This is one I'm never going to hop on board with.
I'm not even on board with smart speakers. This isn't even a smart speaker. It's just a microphone.
That is plugged in directly to Comcast.
Yeah, who wants that? I want to deal with Comcast as little as possible as it is.
Do you have Comcast still?
I do have Xfinity.
Oh, yeah. That's not the same.
It's not.
It is, though. That you go to the same call center.
Yeah, you do. You do.
And they will say some English name when they don't actually have an English name. We know Comcast is going to charge you nickel and dime you. They're not going to rape your bill.
There's no way they won't nickel and dime you.
But they will nickel and dime you, but it won't be like you're going to just take out $150 and slap it on the table.
No.
But there is something you can do that for.
You go to the gym.
I do.
Do you have trouble going to the gym sometimes?
I do. I do have sometimes. I'm like, I get home from work and I start playing some video games. I'm like, you know what?
Maybe I won't go.
Today's not the day to go to the gym.
Right. Would you pay $150 a month for someone to nag you to go to the gym?
I could give someone half my assets and get nagged for free.
So there is a company doing a fitness thing where you pay $150 a month and you get a personal trainer that's not an actual, well, they might be an actual personal trainer, but you don't go to the gym with them. They just send you workouts.
Okay.
And then they call you to make sure that you've done it. So basically what you're paying it for is for someone to nag you.
A nagger.
Yes.
They're
paying for someone to annoy you and to check up on you and make sure you've done stuff.
No. Once again, no. Negative.
There's some good things.
Really?
There are some good things about it.
What is the good thing?
So a personal trainer, probably not an idiot.
I'm sure they have all the certifications they need.
I'm sure as well. They're giving you workouts to do. So if you're having trouble like being interested, or if you're like actually doing things wrong, assuming they do what they say and are actually good at it, they'll send you good workouts and you'll be able to work out more effectively and more efficiently. The other thing is that they send you an Apple Watch, which is like $300, and they send it to you. So I'm gonna guess you can't sign up for 1 month and then quit and just be like, hey, Apple Watch, thank you.
Yeah.
But they actually have a really high retention rate. 95% stay for 3 months and 85% stay for 6 months. So they've got to be doing something good. And I will say the hardest part about working out consistently is going on the days that you don't want to go. And if you don't have a significant other who is going to nag you about going to the gym, which they probably shouldn't unless you ask them to.
Yeah.
And
usually I do.
You're not like letting anyone down exactly by not going to the gym most of the time.
Right.
And so when you don't feel like it and you don't want to go, that's the hardest time to go.
Oh, for sure. The only thing I have against this is the whole reason behind personal trainers is so someone can walk you through the exercises they've given you so that you're doing them safely. I can't wait to go to the gym now and see all these people who have gotten off the couch. Good for them. Excellent. I'm so happy for them. And now they're doing weight, throwing their backs out, and they probably went right to CrossFit.
So when they do this, when they set it up, if you have questions, they will video chat with you and tell you what you're doing wrong.
Oh, excellent. All right. I'm down for this for other people.
For other people. For a certain kind of person.
Yeah, for someone who has an extra $150 a month to spend on this kind of thing.
Right.
On top of their gym membership.
Yeah.
Which is about $200. $200 total now, we're talking.
Yeah.
Then we're going to add in, since they've decided to do this, they got to have better nutrition. We'll tack on another $100. So they're at $300 a month to have someone nag them.
Right.
Not for me.
I could do it for much less than that.
Oh, yeah.
I get 1,000 people to give me $10 a month to text them every day to see if they've gone to the gym.
I'd like to see you text 1,000 people to go tell them to go to the gym.
I'd set it up automated.
Wow. That real
just
personal
write
touch.
a personalized message every day. Just insert their name and be like, hey, you lazy fuck. Have you been to the gym today?
God's watching you. Or if you don't believe in God, Santa.
Speaking of Santa,
Really?
this one particular Chinese man is not going to have a good Christmas this year.
And how is that working?
So an Oregon student and Chinese national whose name is Zhang was sentenced, or could be sentenced, up to 10 years in prison or a $2 million fine, because what he did is he had some contacts in China because he's from China, and they would send him iPhones that don't work. And so then he would be like, hey, Apple, my iPhone broke. Can you please replace it? And they did. They sent him fake iPhones, and then he got real iPhones from Apple. He made 3,069 warranty claims, and 1,493 were accepted. That's like 50%. 50% of people at Apple were not doing their job. They were not like, this is a counterfeit phone. They were just like, here's a new phone. So at $600 a phone, this guy committed $900,000 in theft.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Go America.
I can't believe this guy got away with this for that long, because it was several years. I think it was like 7 or 8 years, and he was using his address, the address of his family and friends and people that he knew, and that probably did not make them very happy. But I can't believe he was able to get away with 1,500 warranty claims on counterfeit iPhones.
I mean, he'd have to move areas, because I feel like one shop would be like, man, we're getting a lot of phones back all the time now.
If you do it online.
That's true.
If
But
you do it online.
it's still the same service center most likely in that area.
Probably. I don't know. I feel like someone should have noticed well before it got to $1 million. Well before.
They did notice it before it got to $1 million.
Well before.
Like 750,000?
They noticed like 90% of the way to $1 million.
Okay. Well,
So this guy is going to be sentenced to up to 10 years in prison, or basically twice of what his theft was.
do you know how
$2
they
million.
could have solved this?
How?
If they used facial recognition in their stores.
Yeah.
And then targeted everybody.
Because everybody loves that.
Yeah.
Speaking of faces, though, I believe it's Samsung has come up with an algorithm to generate animations off of somebody's face based on one picture.
So it just takes like the landmarks on your face and then kind of guesses what they're going to do to
So
move?
it pretty much that. It takes your face and it guesses what it would look like if it was moving around. So they did it with the Mona Lisa, and there's 3 different depictions of what she could have looked like. She's not very attractive in any of them. Not that she was very attractive in the regular freaking painting.
No.
But it's creepy because it looks plausible. It looks like a plausible woman based on the painting. And it's creepy.
Do you think they're going to do animations more of this style now? If they can get it to be more accurate, instead of having to draw each moving piece, just draw one picture and then get the algorithm to make it move in the correct manner.
I don't know.
I feel like that would be super helpful for
That would be
animators.
cool. For animators. To be fair, I don't know much about how the animation process works nowadays.
I'm sure. Don't they just draw pictures and then next page and draw a picture and then you have a little notebook at the end? It's like
The flip book?
Yeah. Isn't that still how they do it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea.
Same.
I know that, for instance, like there was a video game, Cuphead, which was like renowned for its amazing animation. That was all hand drawn. And it's like a boss fighting game a lot of the time. So when you fight a boss, each boss has, let's say, 5 moves. Each of those 5 moves has like 50 different frames associated with that move. So basically, each boss has like 300 hand drawn, perfectly animated pictures.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good dedication. What game is this?
Cuphead.
Have you played it?
I have.
Is it good?
It's hard, but it's good.
Okay.
It's compared to Dark Souls. It's one of those games that like you kind of almost get there and then it just kicks you in the foot and stabs you in the face.
Never played one of those games.
Have you ever wanted to explore the Great Barrier Reef?
Believe it or not, I have.
Okay.
I do find that place very cool.
Yeah. It's super awesome from the things that I've seen. And now you can do it in an Uber.
Never mind. Don't want to do it. Why? Get Uber. Get out of my things.
It's an Uber that explores the Great Barrier Reef in a submarine. And the reason I bring this up is because they called it ScUber.
I'm so mad. I'm so unbelievably... I
Isn't
feel like I'm going to
so
open
cool,
the fridge
though?
and it's just going to be Uber. Here's milk.
Yeah, they're getting into everything. I mean, they have Uber, they have ScUber, they have Uber Eats.
They've got I'm sure they're going to be part of that automated Tesla mode.
Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
So they'll have automated drivers.
They do have, they have, they're working on automated vehicles, yeah.
They'll probably start getting into like Amazon deliveries.
And smart speakers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're like, man, I think I need to go out and get milk. You walk outside and someone hits you with a jug of milk.
The next step, like what's after smart speakers and just saying that you need to go get milk is just going to be in your head. And you're just going to think, I need to get milk. And then a milk jug is going to come crashing through your window. That's the next thing.
I just imagine sitting there playing a video game like, man, I really need something to drink. And just that's good, absolutely.
Colin Man breaks there. Oh, yeah.
Or like I'm just like picturing like the 5-gallon like water cool jugs just like come flying to the side of the wall. Just bitch, bop.
That would be so cool and so annoying.
Yes. Would be cool though. 10 out of 10 would recommend to a friend in a casual conversation.
You surround yourself in like trampolines and you're like, I really need a baseball. Someone throws a baseball at you, boing.
And then immediately you get a diagnosed concussion. It just shows up as a little slip. Just you are an idiot.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. That's all I have to say about the Uber thing, though.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was kind of excited to talk more about the Great Barrier Reef. You got
we can talk more about it.
I don't want to because it's got ScUber a part of it. I'm done with Uber.
You might be done with Uber, but I'm certainly not done with Subaru.
Wow, good, nice, well done.
Subaru has released some of their stats for the cars that they sell in the United States. So in 2018, 3.5% of cars sold in the United States were manual transmission.
That's it.
So 96.5% were automatic transmission or CVT.
I'm telling you, my car is pretty much steel proof.
So in 30 years, like legitimately less than 5% of the people who know how to drive will know how to drive a manual transmission. Because it's like our generation and younger, most of them don't know how to drive a manual.
Yes.
Our parents' generation, most of them do. But by the time they're off the roads and not really driving anymore, the amount of people that know how to drive a manual is so low. So I think in 30 years, it is absolutely going to be like something you can write on your insurance. It's like it's a manual transmission and you get a discount because fewer people are going to steal it.
Yeah, because who could?
Right?
I mean, yeah, they'll break your window and you'll have a little bit of insurance claim. But you're going to come out and your car's just going to be like...
Yeah. This is going to be so cool when people start trying... No.
When people start trying to steal my vehicles in 30 years.
So on that note, though, Subaru has released some of their stats, and 90% of WRXs sold are manual transmissions.
I would say that surprises me, but it doesn't.
Considering the other options, a CVT or a continuously variable transmission, it's not surprising.
Wait, that is the only option. There's not like a 6-speed automatic?
There's no 6-speed automatic. It's CVT or 6-speed manual.
Man, that's like, do you want to get shot or do you want to enjoy your fun here?
Right. It's like, and I know at least one person who bought an automatic WRX or a CVT WRX.
Is it faster than yours?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's slightly. Typically, manuals are slightly faster. I mean, that's kind of not exactly been true in the last couple of years, but I think CVTs have so many downsides to them at this point that the manuals are going to be faster.
Okay.
So, and 78% of BRZs, the Subaru BRZ, which is the 2-door roadster kind of thing, rear-wheel drive.
That was their like collab with
Toyota
and Scion
and Scion, which is no longer a thing. 78% of BRZs are sold as manual transmissions, but interestingly, Toyota 86, which is the same thing as the BRZ, used to be the Scion FRS, but it's the Toyota 86. Only 33% of those are manual transmissions, which is weird.
You know, it's because someone went on the lot and they're about to hit their midlife crisis. Like that day, they're gonna hit it, and they're like, "I need to just get a good old Toyota Corolla family car." And they're like, I need an automatic. I don't know how to drive a manual. And then they see the 86 and they're like, yep. I need that one.
That's the one. I mean, also keeping in mind that Toyota has sold probably about 10 times as many BRZ or 86s as Subaru sold BRZs. So,
yeah.
Which leads me to believe that I am actually, in fact, in a cult.
You guys wave to each other on the road.
So you wave to other Jeep drivers when you're driving a Jeep, but honestly, very few of them wave back.
It's because they're all assholes. Most Jeep drivers are assholes.
I'm not going to disagree with that. But WRX owners, like 80% of the time, people wave back. It's pretty high. There's one guy that I pass on my drive who drives a white WRX that he doesn't wave back. So I'm like, screw that guy. But most of the people do.
You could do what some Jeep drivers do.
Huh.
That they'll wave to you as they pass by, but if you don't wave back, they'll just hold out the middle finger to you on the backside.
Excellent.
That seems to be your favorite move on the road.
Yeah, well, when you cut me off for literally no reason, yes.
I really wish I could drive more around here because I would find you and cut you off.
Don't want to get into it. In other car news, though, the Civic Type R.
Oh, the worst front-wheel drive vehicle ever made. I'm kidding. But it's still trash.
It's probably the best front-wheel drive vehicle ever made.
Well, it's
for the most part.
Like the
Until
qualifier,
recently.
The qualifier is front-wheel drive.
Right. Until very recently, I think in this past week, it held the front-wheel drive Nürburgring record. About 7 minutes and 43 seconds, or 44 seconds was the record. This was the Honda Civic Type R. It's now been beaten by a Renault.
No, it's not.
It's been beaten by Renault. If you live in America and you've never heard of this, it's a Renault. Is how it's spelled, but it's a French car. The Civic was beaten by a Renault, which has been known for the last 20-some years for making crap cars.
I bet this car, once they got it off the track, it immediately fell into pieces.
Quite possibly, but the important thing is that it beat the Type R by almost 4 seconds. 3.7 seconds it beat it by, which is a huge margin for something like this.
Jesus.
Additionally, it's only got 298 horsepower, a 1.8 liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, and which is like about 15 less horsepower than the Civic, and it still beat it. And 1.8 liters is not a very big turbo 4.
That's tiny.
That is tiny, and it still beat it. And for comparison, it's faster than a Porsche 911 GT3, which had a Nürburgring lap record of 7 minutes and 42 seconds.
See, I get the fact it's like it is fast. That's amazing how fast it is, but it's a front-wheel drive vehicle.
And the top comment on the article, and I quote, "Okay, impressive accomplishment, but isn't this basically like being the fastest three-legged horse in the Kentucky Derby? Front-wheel drive is inherently compromised for performance driving. For the price of one of these ultra-limited edition production cars, I'm guessing you could buy any number of faster rear-wheel drive vehicles purpose-built to be performers, without being held back by economy car bones underneath. Just don't get it, I guess."
I was gonna say having the fastest front wheel drive vehicle is like bragging about how many toothpicks you can shove in your eye. Once again, nobody cares.
It's the best of the worst drivetrain there is.
Yeah, you're like the guy who shows up and asks people if they want to see your party trick.
Oh, you don't do that.
You don't. You let someone bring it up for you, but nah, you walk in the room, you're like, guys, I got the coolest party trick. Let me show it to you. And it's like making a coin disappear. Like,
or it's like if you're a musician, like you invite people over to listen to your music. Or if you have a podcast, you go over to people's places and tell them to listen to your podcast with you.
Yes, definitely do that all of the time. Did you do that before?
In the car on the way to Snowshoe. Yeah,
we had
guests. We were like, hey, listen to the podcast.
Oh, prisoners. They couldn't leave.
Yeah. So we're that guy apparently.
No, we're not. We're not that guy.
That's right, because I would never own a front-wheel drive car.
Neither would I.
Even though I've owned one in the past.
I own one currently. But I don't ever say it's fast. I don't truly drive it like it's a performance vehicle.
Good. Because the brakes will lock up.
Not only that, but I'd also kill myself.
Yeah, most likely.
Except I will have a rear-wheel drive vehicle soon, which is also a great performance vehicle.
Extremely good.
It corners real fast.
I don't know.
If you want to do a 180 to 500 degree turn, you can do it in this vehicle.
See, it doesn't corner fast, it turns fast.
Oh, it turns real quick. I've already spun the thing.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
The second day I drove it, when we had it, I spun it.
Oops.
We were going down Makel, or I was going down Makel, and I went onto Ross Road, and right in the first turn, I spun it right there. And
Nice.
in like 90 degree weather, dry, every condition, and I spun that bitch.
That's very impressive for a Jeep. Yeah. That's very, very impressive.
Speaking of other terrible things that nobody cares about, the Overwatch League commissioner has left Blizzard.
And what makes it worse is he's left Blizzard for Epic.
We all know how you feel about Epic.
Yes. But Blizzard has poured a ton of money into Overwatch League and has been mildly successful more or less because of this guy, is Nate Nanzer, and he's leaving to basically probably do something very similar for Epic with Fortnite, which, as we all know, is not a very good competitive game because it lacks the aspects that a competitive game needs to be truly competitive.
I think there's been some talk about the way to make it competitive is you drop with the same loadout as everybody else in the game for this competitive mode. You can't, all you do is pick up ammo, resources, and utility items.
And then it's exactly just team deathmatch.
Pretty much.
Which makes it not Fortnite.
No.
So
I think the thing is, like, what they're trying to do is the reason why they don't have certain competitors make it to the end is because they get absolutely boned by RNG.
Yeah. And that sucks. And that's one of the reasons that I think the game is
lacking.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons I think the game's so great, because sometimes I'll kill a really good player because he's got trash loadout.
Right. Which is like the opposite of what should happen in a true competitive game.
Yes, I agree.
So,
but we're moving on to Rainbow Six Siege, which is a much better game all around. I will say it.
I enjoy it so much. I've been really enjoying it. I've been having a blast playing it.
Oh, the last thing, and other very terrible, sad news. The Who,
the well-known band,
the very well-known band, has voted to recognize gaming disorder as an official disease.
So this more or less it's along the lines of gambling addiction. It's someone who plays video games too much to the point that it has negative impacts on their life and they continue to do it. It's a very vague definition.
But
see, my thing with this is like, yeah, sure, you can kind of get addicted to anything. Like, there's people who do this with like anime. Like, I know at least one person who dropped out of college because they were too busy watching anime. So, right, it's pretty absurd. But I mean, it's not that the anime is addicting. It's not that the games are addicting. It's that there's something wrong with the person.
Yeah, people have addictive personalities.
Right, and the ESA, which is the I forget what it stands for, but the U.S. Game Lobbying Corporation, or whatever you want to call it, on behalf of video games, they're like, this really takes away from what the actual health disorder is.
Yeah, just branching like, oh, you play video games for just whatever the hours is required for this disorder, you have it. Right.
And it really doesn't take into account the fact that, like, it's something else. It's not it's not the game's fault. This really just kind of it's almost diagnosing the symptoms and not the problem.
Oh yeah, that's 100% what this is. They don't care to actually do the true problem solving. They just want to blame. They want something to blame, so something they can control better.
Right, and again, the definition is so incredibly vague that, like, how do you quantify that? How do you say that video games has definitely had a negative impact on someone's life? It also has to persist for at least 12 months. So I mean, like, I do less chores because I play video games sometimes. That's kind of a negative impact.
How many people are going to get diagnosed with gaming disorder when Halo comes out? I'm going to spend way more than just 12 months playing it.
Right. It's like, it's vague. I don't like it. I think it's them overstepping their bounds a little bit.
Well, I think the reason is they want, like I said, they need to control it. They want to control the gaming genre better, so they need to make it a disorder so they can regulate it.
That's unfortunate. I mean, gaming is starting to be more regulated, as we talked about last week with the loot boxes, which has received phenomenal bipartisan support from, obviously that means from both sides. People are pretty much totally for this. And I went back and read a little bit about the bill, and that's really vague too. Like, the games that fall into the category that's regulated by this bill is like everything. So I know the intentions of the bill are good, and it's still kind of vague. and it's probably going to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, but it has the potential to be not good.
What I don't get is how is EA, like, I'm going to say EA is the biggest culprit of...
They're the worst.
Well, because they have FIFA.
They're the worst.
Which is the worst.
Yes.
And why have they have received so much negative feedback from the general user? Yes, they're still making money from it because there's people who are paid to play FIFA, people who have the money to waste on FIFA, and they're like, look, we're making money, we're going to keep doing it. But like the majority of the population thinks it's a terrible, terrible addition to the games. And they don't listen to them because they're not the ones making them extra money.
Well, they're still getting games sold. People are still buying it. People are still playing it. People are still spending a ton of money on it. I mean, it's like, I think you said at one point that was like the most played game on console.
Yes.
I mean, it's working. It's working for them. And those FIFA players, I'd say generally someone who plays FIFA and pretty much only FIFA is only going to play FIFA. They're not going to branch out into shooters. They just like FIFA. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, except for the game sucks. So, I mean, they're going to keep buying FIFA because that's what they're good at. That's what they like. That's what they enjoy. Even though they're really irritated about a certain aspect of the game, what else do they have?
Well, I'm saying EA has a skewed picture of their population because there's so much money from a very small amount.
That could be said for every game with microtransactions. I mean, the South Park depicted it really, really well in their freemium episode. Freemium isn't free. It's like, it's along the same lines. It's people who are like gamblers, basically, or addicted to stuff. It's a small percentage of the population paying for 90% of the revenue. It's like it's not the kid who spends an occasional $1 or $5 on a stupid mobile game. It's the person who can't not spend $1,000 a month on Candy Crush getting the extra lives. That's true.
Wait, there's microtransactions in Candy Crush.
Yeah, because there's a timer, and so you only get a certain number of attempts, and if you fail, you have to wait a certain number of hours. That's how almost all mobile games truly work.
That's why I got into Clash of Clans.
It's the same thing.
I hate that.
You can pay real money to make things go faster.
Yeah.
And back in the day when I was really bored and in college and with nothing to do, I would play Candy Crush, and then I'd just set my phone timer forward. I'd get the extra lives, and I'd set it back. I could just keep doing that. And then people are too lazy to do that, so they still pay for it. But
okay, all right.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. Microtransactions suck.
For the most part. Competitive microtransactions suck.
They suck the worst.
They just suck.
So the thing about Rainbow Six Siege, with this loot box bill that we're talking about, is there are operators or characters that you can play which have slightly different abilities as other characters, and they are unlockable via the free in-game currency or by real money. So are they not going to be able to be purchased by real money? It's not loot boxes, but it's a pay-to-win microtransaction.
Yeah.
I mean, is it going to fall under the realm of this bill? Are they going to have to change the way Siege is played? I mean, it's the microtransactions which has helped this game continue to go and keep going strong and pays the development team, because the game itself isn't that expensive and there's no battle pass or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, and Rainbow Six had a not very good launch and has continued to increase and has been an extremely popular game recently because of how well they've been supported through the microtransactions. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle.
Yeah. There are games that I enjoy the microtransactions. Like, I already spent money in Rainbow Six.
Because, I did too.
Because I the operators that I wanted were just they seemed slightly better to me.
Yeah.
Apparently, there are operators that are in the main, like the free, with the game you bought. They are just as good as the unlockable operators. But overall, they don't have like the cool gadgets and cooler updates and whatnot.
Yeah, and so, the good thing about Rainbow Six Siege at the very least, is that they're all cheap. They're very cheap. It's like so much cheaper than pretty much any game I've ever spent money on besides the initial purchase. Mm-hmm. That's why I was willing to do it. So I think they're still doing a good job. But regardless, fuck microtransactions.
Yep, and we're gonna end right there.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have any tips, suggestions, feedback, things you would like to hear us discuss on the podcast, or fashion tips for Zach, please don't hesitate to send us an email at launchspeedpodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us through social media. If you want to support us and get some awesome merch, head on over to our Teespring page and get some bear gear because everybody likes bears. Thank you to all of our patrons. If you want to get sticker shoutouts, bonus content, help us by subscribing to some of our tiers starting at a measly $2 a month. Your contributions help keep the content rolling and the beer flowing.
You were that kid when they got popcorned in school. You just read the rest of the book if you could.
I don't even know what that means.
You never did popcorn reading?
No. Oh, yes. I remember now.
Because I was that kid. If I ever got popcorn, I would never, ever give it to someone else because I was like, you guys suck at reading, and I'm going to finish this book for all of us today.
I understand that. I totally get that.
But it's time to end.
It's time to end. Thank you for listening.
Have a good night.
Or day.